But yeah, Shin Godzilla is a great film.
Yeah, I wish there was a venue people could hear more about it. Really enjoyable.
There was, but that timeline was deleted. We are here with the Facebook Transformers TCG challenge that Brian Allen put out. That's his Facebook name. Brian from Wrecking and Ruling, I think is the name of the channel, which was to use super rare Wave 2 Windblade.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Who are we?
We're two Canadians.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Chris. I own the channel. You should know that if you're watching this video, unless it's embedded somewhere. But hi, I'm Chris. I'm Vangelus on the internet. I'm joined by Ryan A.L. HUPLA.
I have a Twitter account, and that's about it.
Yes.
I sometimes post on Facebook.
A load of HUPLA on Twitter. He might be one of the Ryans you've seen on Facebook. There's only a couple.
Yes.
Very few.
Limited name per year.
Yeah. We have to dispose of the rest. So we're supposed to use Super Rare Windblade. That is the whole challenge. I iterated through 15 different decks, and in fact this one was brand new for today, and we tested it, and I'm finally happy with it, because I was getting very salty, because every idea I had was full of cool concepts.
Yes.
But half the games I played, literally none of them, sometimes as high as 4 things where at least one should fire off to at least satisfy my endorphin rush. Nothing was happening. Finally, something's happening. So I've paired Windblade up with Powertrain and his 2 4-star pals from the Off-Road Patrol. That's my roster. The idea of this is, obviously, when you're running Windblade, part of the whole crux is I want to flip her to jet mode, reveal a card off the top of my deck, and hopefully it's 2 pips, look it is, and I can play it. So, early days, learning that if I have more than, say, 1 or 2 cards that can't flip off the top, it feels very bad flipping her over. Also, I was running Matrix of Leadership in all the decks because it's a 2-pip card with, orange and blue. I was running Rollout as well. It was a feel bad to reveal that because it meant that nothing happened when I revealed it, so I stripped it out. Matrix, eventually, I wanted to be able to put it on someone, and you and I both were like, boy.
We both assumed, 12-star super rare.
We just thought she was a leader.
Would be a leader.
We just thought she was a leader.
She's not.
She's not a leader. So I wanted someone the Matrix could actually go on, because it also pumps Windblade. And originally this was always going to be a 3-wide. It was always Windblade and Slipstream and someone. And so I came to this, and this works. Obviously with these guys, they're in this mode. Getting pumped with natural bold. They want to flip lots of orange and black. Windblade's happy flipping any kind of orange and black. She's got natural 5 or 6. So I'll show you what the deck I put together is. Starting off with some upgrades. Guess what? It's the Off-Road Patrol. So we've got 3 Combat Daggers for that bold and orange-black, 3 Unflinching Courages for that bold and blue-black, mostly black, but some blue so you can't predict how things go when you attack me. I'm going to also just check my focus, and hey, it's totally working! I'm filming a TCG video. Because I wanted to have a couple of double pip cards where it turns out they have green pips, they're those collect them all and play all 3 cards. I wanted, I originally ran a whole bunch of them, and then it was just too complicated figuring out which ones to hold on to. So I only have 2 of them, and one of them is Attack Drone. So hey, if I have an Attack Drone or 2 in hand, and I reveal Attack Drone, I get to play one out of my hand as well, and it's value! That's a local Toronto in-joke. I've also got 4 singletons here. These are all green pip singletons that are just, I think, relevant. Noble's Blaster, just for Windblade or Powertrain, generally. Enforcement Batons and Bashing Shield to just deal with stuff that's annoying. Sturdy Armor for Windblade. I think that she's the only one who has a chance of withstanding multiple hits, aside from Powertrain, and even then that's a little dicey. So this gives her that little bit of boosting. If she's against a ranged enemy, even more boosts. As I mentioned before, triple Matrix of Leadership on Powertrain. Oh, that's sweet. Especially when you top deck it on turn 2. After you traded one out for a green pip and then Ryan espionage the second one out of my hand.
But how often could that happen?
It's literally the first game I played with this earlier today. And this is mostly for black pips, but I have 2 point positions because they also, hey, if you don't murder my little guys in 1 shot each, now I can slap Brave while tapped onto one of them and make you have to focus on the target you least want to focus on. 1 Metal Detector, which is really never done anything in every single game I've played, but it just feels like this is going to be the thing. At some point, this will do something. And then mostly for pips, but again, this can go on Windblade in a pinch. 3 Immersed in Shadows, 3 because it's orange-black. But hey, if I throw this on Windblade and she's stealth while untapped, and I have one of the other little guys flip to bot mode, now you have to attack a dumb target. And that's, let's see, 3... 7, 8, 11, 14, plus 6 is 22 upgrades. That's also why I'm running Metal Detector, because the odds are just about in its favor.
Nice even ratio there.
Yeah. So that's our upgrades. I'm going to push all this out of the way after I spent so long sorting it all. All that work for one shot.
what?
For what? For one. And maybe it's all it's not out of focus. But hopefully you all can see what's going on. The other collect-em-all I have in here is Focus Fire, because this deck likes bold. It gives lots of bold. I have had it happen in previous iterations of this deck where I had one or two of these in hand and I flipped to reveal the top one, and I had a Fight for Position in hand, which is another 3 of, because it's orange, black, bold. That was a lot of bold. Now that Powertrain has friends he's emboldening, that's even more bold. It feels cool. I also, for the black pip and for the attack pump, have triple steady shot. Pretty straightforward. For the pips, primarily, I have 3 rock tosses, but in a pinch, these can be some game-winning direct damage. Most of the time, they only reveal on the top when you just reset on the wheel turn, so usually it does nothing.
For some people, it's on the wheel turn. For others, it's that insta-kill that you need.
It's whenever I'm not running it. We'll talk about that later. By the way, we're showcasing 2 decks. This is a 2-for-1. This is 2 different entries, for those of you who are doing the contest thing. Brian? Brian!
So you know Brian. It's 2 entries.
Brian, it's 2 entries!
It's 2 entries, Brian.
Triple Wedge Formation, because in a deck that wants to run multiple pip color things with orange and black, where at one point green pips matter when I was running the Jet Boy, this still performs. Healing 1 on Powertrain really matters when he is a 4/4 on the robot mode side near the end of the game.
Do you get heals on all your Micromasters? Are they all melee?
They're all melee.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So that's a thing.
Yeah.
There is probably something to be said for the plan you get off Windblade, where, say, you have something in hand you really want to play, say a second upgrade, so you plan it on top and flip her to play a second upgrade, use this like new designs in a way that maybe heals Powertrain as well. And then a couple singletons, one Reprocess, because I am totally buying into the theory I've seen floating around of just put one Reprocess in basically every deck. I'm really buying into that theory, because it's very helpful.
Whether it's removal for your opponents or healing for yourself, it's an incredible card.
In the current state of the game, oddly enough, even with all the Pierce, I'm finding that a heal 2 in a pinch sometimes is clutch. Sometimes.
And even if you flip it off the top of Windblade and you don't get to use it, at least you know you have that coming up that you could potentially take during your attack flip, so it's not even the worst to see off of Windblade.
This and Rock Toss are kind of the biggest bummers to see. Sometimes the other Silver Bullet, Espionage, if your opponent just emptied their hand. But in a deck going for bold, you see a white pip, you're like, you know what? If I go count my other white pips and I actually remember how many there are, I don't off the top of my head right now, then you might, have a good attack flip coming. Another white pip, another one of Secret Dealings. It's a draw card. It's kind of like, if I'm having real bad luck and I draw what would have been otherwise a dead card, this one lets me draw something. And like I said, with plan, it can fill in as a new designs with Windblade if timing is completely working out in Fairyland, where everything is perfectly timed by accident.
And potentially a free draw action with Windblade as well, just to flip it off with her.
If you flip this off the top, you play it, then draw the next card.
And you still have your action play, which is good.
It's like, is that bad? No. Is it game winning? Probably not, but it's better than nothing. And that's kind of what I found my own experience with Windblade is just peeling out every situation where something feels like the deck is quite literally falling down a staircase on its own volition. That's what I tried to avoid. And in our test game we just had, I don't think the deck's like, oh, I won the test game. I don't think like, oh, right, my deck's finally better than Ryan's. It's like, no, just my deck was able to play a close game against a 4-wide.
I could tell, having played you for the past month, we've been doing this challenge, this was definitely the strongest iteration of your Windblade deck, I feel. It was the most consistent, even when I had rock tossed you and gotten rid of one of your Micromasters, I kind of felt like, I think I really swung this game in my favor. You being able to come back around and really get me, I feel, it really speaks to just how much fine-tuning you've done on this one.
And it's him. It's Powertrain. I should have believed in him from the start. Multi-pip meant lots of green pips, and you'll see Ryan's deck in a sec, but Ryan's deck also was kind of like, green pips. Guess who likes green pips? Guess who likes a lot of green pip cards? And I was like, I agree. But then, given the leaning I was doing, because we ended up going in very different directions. But the leanings that I kept doing just kept saying more and more, why don't you just run bold? Why don't you just run bold? Why don't you just run bold? So that's why we ended up doing this. Now, sideboard-wise, we have vestiges of the last iteration of this deck, because I still really like it. But that last deck was a 3-wide that absolutely could not keep pace with a 4-wide. And I think 4-wides are common now, with the patrols kicking around. 5-wides even are common. But so I still like this. This is for against 2-wides or 3-wides where this makes some sense, because obviously against a 2-wide, the 3 patrol guys are still really cool.
I feel it makes the most sense as a sideboard option. I think what you're about to show here, people will see.
It's Nightbird. Mm-hmm. She brings with her a star card. So what's a multi-pip, different color pip star card? Recon System. Given the mix of pips in this deck, even though it leans orange, this pseudo-focus one can be helpful. Also, that's a great thing to flip. Windblade doesn't have any utilities that she absolutely desires. So any utility thing that can just sit on her.
Again, you're not putting the Matrix on her, so might as well put this orange-blue on her.
You might be wondering, what about Field Communicator? Do you know what Field Communicator does in a Windblade deck? It sits on top of your deck every time you flip her to jet mode. Mm-hmm. So we both took Field Communicator out, because that was frustrating. What she also brings, which is a very powerful thing when things align correctly, is 3 Opportune Repairs. I have flipped this off the top more than once, and had one in my hand to play where in one turn I heal Windblade for 6.
Great card in your deck.
Even healed Powertrain for 3 and basically reset him. Mm-hmm. This is an excellent card, and I think this Opportune Offensive, yes. I think this is also proof, the 2 Opportunes, of why there probably will never be a 5-star mercenary. Because if you could just
if you can just have a mercenary that you don't care if they die, but you could just continue to play Opportune Offensive
and Opportune
Repairs. Excuse me.
Offensive is also excellent.
I guess either or.
Yeah.
Especially with a target like Nightbird, I find when you were siding her in, or starting with her when other iterations of your deck, people were just so focused on getting her off the board because of the action crippling.
And it's like, no, go ahead, because she's taking up 7 stars. She's taking up sometimes as many as like 3 or 4 turns, if I get lucky. Mm-hmm. She's pinging damage out at least once or twice. And then, even if she's gone, I have Powertrain and Windblade chilling out in a deck that likes them,
and it's giving you
Repair 3.
It's giving you time to get those Opportune Repairs into your hand. Where once Nightbird's gone, it doesn't matter if she's KO'd. You can still play the card. Once they start putting damage on Windblade or Powertrain or whoever you have, you're healing it off right away, which is great.
Yeah, when I have had a good luck with my draws, that was a situation. They wiped Nightbird, and then I'm just perpetually healing Powertrain and Windblade into perpetually healing Windblade. Mm-hmm. Another sideboard cards. This is kind of what comes with Nightbird. This is based on our playtesting. I think that it's worth having one of these, though, at least. Battlefield Scan. Micromasters, some of the Micromasters are a thing.
The Lord specifically.
And they are protected inherently. If you can just punch them in the face when you're not supposed to, I've found that to be pretty powerful. Especially Nightflight. Nightflight? No, wait. Nightwind Flight Bird Tail. Tailwind? Tailwind. It's
Tailwind.
Tailwind. Yeah, Tailwind. Their names are too similar, and I said that when I was a kid because I don't remember any Micromaster names. The other sideboard cards, I have 2 Hijacks. Again, it's a double pip that powers Pierce. And hey, you know what? Card draw, I don't like card draw. I want to draw more cards. Mm-hmm. Again, maybe these don't need to be 2 ofs, all of these, including Smelt. Smelt probably could be a 1 of. I just like having 2 if I feel like I'm dealing with like a Galaxy Prime situation where I just want to wipe upgrades.
Specifically for you, since you've gone in a more bold focused approach, like I definitely see taking Smelt, putting it in the sideboard, kind of getting rid of it a bit. I personally like the card a bit more in my deck because of the green focus, but I definitely see why Reprocess works better for you as a removal.
Yeah, especially since on my little guys, I have things like Metal Detector, for instance. You know what that lets me do? Metal Detector, Reprocess, heal for 2. Mm-hmm. It's kind of complicated, but again, the healing over 1, I'm really surprised how much I've found that matters in these kind of mid-tier games we're doing. So that's my sideboard. Again, this could probably lose a Battlefield Scan and a Hijack if you want to fit 2 more things in. Battlefield Scan, I guess it depends on your meta, but I just feel like I see so many people talking about those green pip flyboys.
Yes.
I feel like this is important.
I would love to hear someone talk about those green pip flyboys.
Well, guess what? That's my deck. We're going to talk about Ryan's deck now.
Okay. So for this Windblade challenge, I did something bold and decided to use super rare Windblade.
Yes.
Interesting choice on my behalf.
I'm astonished myself.
Who I decided to pair her with. I was kind of looking at, okay, so what are the best? I want a deck where no matter what I do, I'm always going to be, if I flip her to jet mode, there is not a chance that I'm not going to get a card off. There's never going to be a time where I'm like, darn, there's a single pip there. So I decided I'm going to exclusively use double pips.
That was like our opening week, right? Was the 2 of us having these complicated ideas, and then we just were like, I hate it when this whiffs. This whiffs, I feel like the whole deck just fell down.
For 40 cards, not a single pip in there. And I thought, okay, so what are some of the strongest double pipped cards? And I thought press the advantage, and then remembered it was banned. So I was like, where do I go next? Okay, so the greens are really strong, and I specifically remembered reading the deck lists of the Energon Invitational winners who used the Nemesis Prime with the Airstrike Patrol, and was like, okay, I want to give the Airstrike Patrol a try. So I gave that's a Coke Zero right there.
They probably heard the hiss. I just want to prove that I'm not, leaking.
We are sponsored. We do get paid for that.
Yes.
I decided let's use Airstrike Patrol. I'm kind of scared that once this challenge is concluded, there's going to be about 10 other entrants who were like, "Oh, Windblade with the Airstrike Patrol." I just decided to do that.
I feel like I put that worm in your ear, and it's only because so many people are running these on a high level intent, and they fit this challenge profile perfectly.
Yes.
I do wonder if we're going to see this a lot, but it's a good.
I have won a lot more games than I ever expected to with this team, to the point where I really thought after this challenge I was going to be taking this deck apart and just being, well, that was very fun. It was great to use cards I haven't been using before, but I can definitely see this as a mid-tier deck that I bring to my locals, I bring to my friendlies, and I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to bust out Super Rare Windblade.
Yeah, let's just lay out, like, you've run this against some other folks who are running, like, mid-tier fun, sometimes janky stuff. It has a pretty good record.
Yes.
You've also run this against some high-tier stuff, and it fights back.
It fights back, and I'm able to get rid of more characters than I expect, but it's still definitely not a high tier deck. I will say though, regardless of the double pip flipping, I did face a Superion deck where, hey, it turns out when Windblade does her stuff, and even if you just have 2 characters left, Pierce 4, 8, 12. Superion also, and Omega Supreme.
Supreme is one of these. Skytread is one of these. Tidal Wave will be one of these.
Tidal Wave will be.
Dreadwing is one of these.
Having the... I guess, against the 5 wide combiners, you don't have that character advantage. But once they combine up and it's 1 versus even 2 or ideally 3 left, you can do some really, really nut stuff just with her Pierce 4, which I've really appreciated.
And your pips actually allow, between your pips and the Lord ability, these little guys survive compared to my little guys. My little guys burst and often get creamed. These ones can live long enough for that to become something that is a what do you call it? It's a guillotine hanging over your head if you're going for a combination.
So speaking of pips, obviously I have a big green pip focus, so I'm going to just be removing my characters from here, and like Chris, I'm going to start with upgrades first. So I kind of originally went in I just put in a bunch of double pip cards and wasn't really working with anything, and I eventually realized stick with at least 12 green, which is what I have, and then go for heavy Pierce if I can. So Combat Dagger. It's an okay card. Orange and black is quite good. Being able to get that bold 1 can sometimes fish for that green pip you need with your Micromasters. Matrix of Leadership. This is one that I kept saying I was going to strip out because it turns out Windblade is not a leader. Didn't get the chance to do it. Didn't end up finding that 1 card I wanted to replace it with. Still just enjoyed the orange and blue.
And what I'll say is the reason why we would get rid of Rollout but not this is if you do reveal this,
it's still a +1. It's still a +1 on Windblade.
Windblade has no critical utility that I'm aware of in your deck and not in mine. Yeah. So she can hold 1 for a +1. If she's in bot mode, that turns her into a base 7. That's something.
Yeah. Bashing Shield. First green pip card appearing here. Orange and green. Good pip combination. +1 defense. Actually really great in a pinch once you have Tailwind with 2 of his buddies dead.
Yeah.
Giving him 4 defense instead of 3 can
5,
be...
right? Oh, no, it's 1, sorry.
He'd be 4 defense instead of 3 can be really, really crazy. Just being able to get armors off of your opponents is always valuable.
I'm thinking 5 because also this deck consistently, 90% of the time, has a green pip in its flips, so I just assume his defense is 2. Or, base,
2 Scoundrels Blaster. Again, green pip, blue pip. Not the most ideal with the blue, but the 2 Pierce, being able to put it on my Micromasters, really, really strong card in the deck, I find.
And Tailwind is usually alive next to Windblade at the end of the game. It's very rare that I've seen you reveal this and not be able to play it.
Single Nobles Blaster, only 1 Autobot, +2 attack, really good buff there. The Pierce 2 could be relevant. Windblade typically has a big enough attack stat that it doesn't end up being, but the +2 is just really, really good. And again, a green pip on the flips for the Micromaster boys.
And she's always there at the late game.
card that I put in kind of recently, which I wish I had in more often.
This is
Terrifying
awesome.
Resilience. 2 of. The tough is okay. Again, maybe fishing for green pips on defense and maybe an extra blue. But the orange-black is just, like, really crazy.
Well,
like,
how commonly you flip your green pips, this is basically a +1 in perpetuity.
yeah. It's instead of guaranteeing me that extra blue flip, it's guaranteeing me that extra green flip that will hopefully get me that +1 on the defense.
And what's scary about this, guys, is green flips then also turn into card option pulls.
Yes, exactly.
And it's, ugh.
Enforcement Batons. I find getting rid of weapons is a lot less useful than getting rid of armors. Not useful, but not something that I needed to have. Originally I had 3 of, I brought it down to 2, now I brought it down to 1. +1 attack can be relevant. Green pip, obviously relevant, but could be good in a pinch when your opponent's setting up a big character, just to say, hey, I'm putting you back 1 turn, you're going to have to play that upgrade again.
Especially with your little guys all having that little defense boost. Grenade launcher can be scary. Well, grenade launcher, but a big weapon can be scary.
Yeah.
Grenade launcher probably.
Anything that gives pierce can be scary. Like, it can be important. 2 more singles. Unflinching Courage, Reactive Armor, Green Pip, +1 defense. When it scraps enemy armor. Could be a good play when you're putting on a Micromaster you know is about to die and you want to get rid of your opponent's armor that way.
Yep.
Could also just be good for buffing up one of your guys. Green Pip is good, Orange Pip is good. Unflinching Courage, similar obviously to Terrifying Resilience, but onto Windblade. Help her fish for more orange. The blue pip is good on defense, obviously. The black pip is really what I ended up adding in the deck for. I found Pierce was just so relevant in this deck, and having a 1 of it to flip Windblade and put it on her. Definitely would not have more than 1, but I have definitely found some good uses for it. Final upgrade in the deck, and majority of my whites here. Attack Drone. Attack Drone is... I have 3 of the Search and Find green pips in the deck. Attack Drone is one where I'm not really focused on building up all 3, more so I'm focused on getting that +1 when I need it, using the white pip to flip 2 more cards, obviously, having the green pip super relevant there. But hey, if you have 1 attack drone in your hand and you top deck an attack drone on a Windblade flip, having a +2 is still really, really good. And then deciding, hey, maybe I am going to go through, for that 3rd and play that 3rd on my next turn. It can be big. It's not one that I'm going for in my hand, but it's still really good in the deck, I find.
I found in my experiments, like having attack run in from like day 1, I tried collecting it. I found it's more useful when it's like you happen to have 1 and you reveal 1. Like, it's not something I would really pursue collecting unless I had to and saw it in a flip. Because I feel like chasing attack drone is sort of... It distracts from, like, all the other green pips I think are doing more for you. Like in my deck and in your deck.
I just found, like, hey, the white and green is, like, the most relevant part of it there, is just being able to, like, I'm guaranteeing, hey, it's great that I got the green on my white flip, and maybe I'm flipping another orange-black with it as well, just to buff my attack. Like, it really is... It's more in there for the pips than it is for anything else, but it is still definitely a useful card. So what are we at for upgrades? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Actually, 3, 6, 9, 12... 16,
17, 18, 19, 20.
Okay, so presumably 20 actions there.
Ratios.
So pretty good ratio there. I'm just going to be...
over for you?
Yeah, for sure. Let's just move these guys aside. Booah, booah. And let's go into my actions. Let's finish off the white pips, actually. 2 of Espionage, 1 of Swerve. Espionage I found to be a really relevant card in the deck. Again...
This also... That can...
Okay, well, we'll talk about this. The white and the green, really, really good, obviously. I find being able to see my opponent take a Noble's Blaster, take a Grenade Launcher, take whatever they are going to take to put in their hand for their next turn, and having that Espionage in your hand, or if you're on your defense, picking up that Espionage because you see them took that really relevant card, is awesome. Even more so if Espionage, the fact that your opponent has to reveal their entire hand, it just gives you so much data. I've been really enjoying playing that card. It's one that I kind of passed over in a lot of my other decks. I found it was really, really awesome in this one. Swerve, I really wanted to go for 6 white pips. I feel it's kind of the number you want to strive for. And then white and black, really, really great. Getting those extra 2 flips plus the black pip for the pierce can be really good. And there are times where you attack with Windblade, being able to flip her and get something off like a rock toss.
Yeah, like a retaliatory rock toss.
Or at the same time, just being able to filter through to play it, even if it's not really that relevant, but maybe fish for a better defense flip because you're seeing like an orange green that you don't want to be as part of that defense flip. It can be really good.
I am really even now. I'm still hemming and hawing. If I were to keep running this deck, I'd probably stick one of these in and pull something out because I do think this is like white black is excellent.
Yep.
But this is like such a clutch in just the right scenario, feel good moment.
Yeah. Not for nothing, I will say though, the amount of times I've been counting my Pierce, my opponent's been like, I don't understand. How do you have 5, not 4, and be like, hey, this is black gray.
Yeah.
It's real hard to see with that white and black. I find Pierce the hardest to see on there.
It's like it masks the texture. Also, I will say, yes, because I'm sure someone will point it out, probably a reason you only want one is because it is very likely you'll flip this and reveal something like Fight for Position.
Oh, yeah, or yeah, Fight for Position, Steady Shot, something that's really not going to be relevant, but it is good for the pips, I will say.
Yeah.
3 times Wedge Formation. Really the perfect card for this deck. Orange, black, green.
Yeah.
The 3 pips I want to see the most. Incredible card to flip. Decent card to play. So I get to draw a card for all my Micromasters. Not all my Micromasters, but they all allow me to draw 1 card.
Yeah.
Windblade lets me plan a card, which can be really relevant to get a green pip right on top of the deck, or an orange black. A lot of the times I find I'm not planning, but it can definitely help me out in a pinch. But really, it's just seeing this on attack or defense, because that green pip giving you that 1 defense for your Micromasters, really, really good there. Fight for Position. Incredible card in this deck. When you're flipping Windblade, when you're going into attack, getting that bold 2, and then being able to play maybe another Fight for Position or a Steady Shot, really, really good. Orange-black pips, it's what you want to see. Just really great card in general. One of my favorites for sure of the new set. Steady Shot, again, fantastic to see when flipping Windblade. Great to play. Getting a +2 on any of your Micromasters or Windblade can be huge. The blue pip is okay. The black pip is what I like to see.
And that pushes that specific Micromaster team off into coming in with somewhere between 6 to 8.
Yeah, being able to start with any of them with a base 5 because you're playing this, and then flipping a green pip, base 7, probably going to get at least 1 orange. Again, base 8.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really strong for a 4 or 5 star character. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
2 times Smelt. Only utility removal in the deck. Bashing Shield, obviously, for armors, I should say. Enforcement Batons for weapons. Smelt can be for whatever your opponent wants. Can be really great when they only have that 1 upgrade on. Can be not as great when they have an upgrade they know they just don't care about getting rid of.
When they play that clutch energy pack, though.
Yes. It can be... Smelt is a good card. It's a good card. 3 times Rock Toss, again, just like Fight for Position. Orange, black, really great pip layout there. Sometimes faults when you're flipping Windblade, and it is both of you guys have stood up, no one's tapped, you're not getting anything, but
also
being able to leave it on top of the deck and knowing you got an orange black coming up on attack, that's not too bad.
In our game we just played, I revealed this, couldn't play it, but I was like, oh, but when
I'm going to go into the guy with 1 left, exactly, and know I'm getting that guaranteed Pierce. But the amount of times, and maybe I'm just a bit lucky, and we're going to talk about my luck in a second here, I've KO'd someone for Rock Toss is, I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm stacking my deck. I don't know what's going on here. The 2 Search and Finds, Focus Fire, War of Attrition. Even just playing 2 Focus Fires is really good. Bold 3 can be fantastic. Having 1 in your hand and flipping Windblade to get a free extra playoff, and being able to get that free action playoff, then maybe a Fight for Position as well. Obviously fantastic. Getting to play all 3 and get bold 6, I believe.
Yep.
Really, really good. Orange and green, great pip layout. War of Attrition, blue-green, good pip layout. Healing 3, doing 3 damage, 1 damage sequentially, really great as well.
And with the Windblade ability, again, War of Attrition has been in my deck until this last iteration, because it is like with Focus Fire.
Being able to do even 2.
Yeah, being able to do 2 is cool, but also it's another one where you have 1 or 2 in your hand, you reveal it off the top, now you're suddenly doing more than 1 ping damage.
Yes.
It's for free.
It's real good. Hey man, do it off a Swerve.
Yeah.
On the defense.
Oh boy, yeah.
There's some dumb stuff. These 2 specifically, speaking of my luck, I kind of mentioned it earlier. We have a friend here, Raider Nightflight. He is just one of the 4 stars. He is a War of Attrition in a can. What is really great about him is you can get the 3 damage off by having 1 Wedge Formation, 1 Smelt, let's say 1 Bashing Shield in your hand. You're doing 3 direct damage to opponent. Unlike War of Attrition, which is 3 instances of 1, you're doing 3 right away. Really, really great. If you have 3 matching sets in your hand, you are also healing 3. I have twice in this month I played this deck, tapped him, scrapped my 3 Focus Fires, and played War of Attritions in the same turn.
Yep.
And have made some opponents pretty salty about it.
Yep, deal 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, and then heal 3 and 3.
Heal 6.
Yeah, basically heal 6. And with Windblade, healing 6 is legitimate.
Yep.
Because she, in both our decks, I find, like in your case...
She's a beat stick.
Yeah, she especially is a shield for Nightflight.
Yes.
Nightflight, no.
Oh,
Tailwind. I did it again. Because Nightflight's been a thing this month.
What's his name?
Visper? No, he's not Visper.
Nope.
Stormcloud.
Stormcloud.
Right, Visper's the one we leave out. Because he has the coolest name.
Well, 5 stars.
Yeah. But yeah, Tailwind is a shieldable character that you might want to protect. There are times where he is, in fact, the bigger threat than Windblade.
Yep.
And so Windblade becomes this 14 health wall where you sometimes are healing 3 to 6 off of her.
It can be really buck wild. I think... So that's my deck, by the way. So 40 cards, 20 actions, 20 upgrades. As you see, no single pip, all double pips. Again, if this video goes up and everyone was like, yeah, use the Air Sprite Patrol, I'll still feel like pretty okay that I ended up coming up with the idea.
Well, you came up with it in a vacuum.
Yes, I was not influenced by anyone else, is what I will say. But I find, hey, it's a really fun deck to run. And kind of if you want to do a general overview on Windblade in general now, Chris, I think like something you'll notice between both of our decks, not a lot of... There are still some Wave 2 cards. A lot of Wave 3, Wave 4.
Yeah.
And I think it really speaks to why she was overlooked in Wave 2 and maybe why people should give her a second look. And I'm really happy, Brian, you suggested this challenge because every set that comes out with more double-pipped cards just makes Windblade a more viable character.
Yeah, the only holes with her playstyle right now is, like, you need double-pip cards. In double-pip cards...
Oh, sorry. You need double-pip cards and you need... good flip economy.
Yeah, and double flip cards with 2 different pips is important. Yeah, so when I was running her with Slipstream, because Slipstream can get that +3 easily with one of these decks, I'm also getting lost in my flips. So I'm like, oh crap, because I want to flip her as much as possible to get this focus of the whole deck to happen. So the thing that I feel between our decks, and I'm curious what other entries in this contest might look like.
Yes.
I feel like we both ran into individually this, like you'll notice a lot of shared cards in our pool because we want this ability to fire. There are not a lot of cards that suit her ability.
Yes.
And things that are missing, just clear direct damage is missing. Rock Toss is absolutely situational.
War of Attrition less so.
Yeah, War of Attrition less so. So War of Attrition and Rock Toss are the direct damage she can fire off, but it's not like clutch in a can. I'm just gonna zap that thing.
And you never get to select your opponent.
Yeah.
Like at best, I guess when it's a tapped enemy, you technically can, but there's no guarantee there's a tapped enemy.
Yeah.
It's not as good as Zap, basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah. And there's also there's Smelt, and there's Enforcement Batons, and there's Bashing Shield.
Yes.
Those are all very situational ways to remove upgrades, but
there's no direct, hey, remove this opponent's upgrade.
Yeah, not unless you pull in a Reprocess or something else.
Yeah, but even then you're not getting it off her flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the moment that more 2 different pip or more cards come out that can suit Windblade, the more I think she might become a thing. She's definitely limited a bit by her star count and her bot mode ability being so niche.
Yeah.
But her stats are not something to laugh about.
No, 14 health, 2 defense, both modes.
Yeah.
6 and 5. Again, if combiners are a thing in your local meta, having a Micromaster team led by Windblade, hey, that's really, really strong.
And also, when you finally figure out like what you want the deck to do, and you get all those double pip cards that will almost all, like 90% of them are just going to feel good to flip on your turn and play.
Yeah.
This is a really endorphin charged deck.
I feel like if Wave 5 has a double pip, obviously multicolored card, that is another +2 attack action.
Yeah.
Whatever, like just attack buff. Having 6 of those in the deck, steady shot plus this mythical other card.
Yeah.
That'd be huge for Windblade. That'd be so big.
Or if there was a 2 different pip card that let you cheat out an upgrade or an action, even in a weird limited way. The fact, like, when you are cheating out stuff with her and it matters, and often, as you can see, it's often based on attacking right now. Like, it's very like bold or at least green pip buffs that form attack buffs. It still is an endorphin fest. When it finally starts happening with consistency. So if you've been skipping Windblade and you skip this challenge, it doesn't have to be one of these lists, but take a look at all the lists. Try one out. Convince your friends to stop running Galaxy Prime or Barrage with all those Airstrike Patrols or their Octone deck and just get some of that stuff going. They don't have to run garbage.
Yeah.
But just, these challenges, I'm kind of sidetracking here. This challenge is a really cool idea.
Yeah, I would love to Do another one. Hey, Brian, get another one going.
You know, another Wave 2 super rare I'd love to see everyone try to build something around. Springer.
Who? The common from Wave 4?
No, old Springer.
Who? What?
Listen, put a utility on him and get him to the right mode, and he has Pierce 4. Anyway, Windblade was the perfect choice because I think she's the most interesting unused super rare out of Wave 2. Which
I would completely agree.
Yeah, that's a very specific list.
Fantastic card art. I just love having her on my.
I love seeing this card art again. Like, yeah, and running Windblade. I love Windblade as a character, especially out of the comic books.
Yeah,
and just getting to run a Windblade.
I was really excited when Windblade was a super rare of Wave 2.
Yep.
And the game was coming out, and I was like, wow, I love Windblade. Really excited for this. She was the first tease of Wave 2, and then kind of was a wet fart. Common Windblade in the starter pack. You know, it's a starter pack character card. Have always wanted to build a deck around her, but have not had that motivation. This challenge really got me to do it. Really had a lot of fun running the Micromaster team.
Yeah.
I find like the two decks we ended up building. I find like, hey guys, you want to build them? Go right ahead. They're a lot of fun. And I just like Chris said, I strongly also recommend you guys to, even if you didn't take part in the challenge, like, hey, come up with a Windblade deck.
Yeah, if someone can sort out Windblade and Slipstream, I want those two characters on a team. And them and Tailwind was the recipe for something that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
But if more cards come out that support planes, for instance, like...
Very interested to see with Wave 5 what the multicolored pip cards are. Mm-hmm. It'll be really interesting to see like what support inadvertently Windblade does get.
And like they've now said that there's 10 stratagems that affect characters outside of Wave 5.
Entirely possible there's a Windblade stratagem.
If there's a Windblade stratagem, my hype will be through the roof because now I'm in love with this card. Even though, you know, obvious limitations.
Yeah.
Like, think of all the cards that we would love to run we can't. Field Communicator, too much of a chance of revealing it. One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall, too much of a chance of revealing it.
Another multi-pipped specialist support card would do her a lot of good as well, since a lot of them are single. Other than Sturdy Armor, I think is
that's the one that I have one of.
Yeah, could definitely something she could use more of. I find in general strategies, just in terms of what we like, run through your first turn, Chris. I'm just curious.
Yeah, so what I'm usually doing now that it's the off-road patrol, right? Obviously, we're leading with these two guys because they are here to hurt someone and die and make him bigger. But in your deck as well, I think you then have this decision to make based on what's going on. Either you then start using the Lord character as a shield for Windblade, or use Windblade as a shield for the Lord character. It really depends on what you're playing against.
Yes.
Because Windblade is the easy choice to make as she's got to survive because she's got stats.
Yes.
But, like, in a case where, say, Powertrain can flip to become a 4/4 with a bunch of weapons on him, and there's a bunch of orange and black in the deck, depending what I'm fighting...
4 native defense is buck wild. Like, you flip 1 blue, and, like, your opponent is not putting a lot of damage on him.
It's like going off of our game we did before filming this, where I was left with the ability to wipe Windblade and leave him with just Nightflight.
Yeah.
That meant I want to protect Powertrain, because he's harder for Nightflight to hurt.
Yeah, you're left with 2 characters left, you flip him to stealth mode, and you're gonna have a better time.
Yeah, and I almost actually you reminded me of this during the game, and yeah, this is another thing with our lineups. You do have the ability to make the Lord character a threat and then hide them.
Yeah.
In the final turns. But yeah, in both our decks, I feel like we kind of ran with the thing of go with the 2 minions. Choose whether we're protecting Windblade or the Lord. Usually in the opening turn, no matter what, it's Windblade, then the Lord.
Yes.
Because she can take that first hit.
Yes.
And making the Lord not touched until the second cycle is frustrating on my side of the table, no matter what the deck is. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the order that we run through with this. As far as cards, it's like, obviously we're flipping off the top as much as possible. If you have a combo of a multiplay card in your hand, like especially if you have 2 of them, then absolutely hold on to them. Reveal off the top. I'd say if like 2 turns pass and you haven't done anything, you have nothing else to play, don't worry about just tossing 2 of them and not getting the full effect. It's fine. But yeah, like I'm pumping for bold on most of these guys. I'm trying to stack my bold up because my deck supports it. You're trying to go for green reveals.
Yep.
And you're also building some decent armor on your guys.
Well, I'm curious because for me, I find I get a lot of utility out of not him, Nightflight's tap ability. Do you get utility out of their tap ability?
So I haven't gone to test that yet. These are black pip ones, so this is an ability.
Makes a lot of sense in your deck, though.
Yeah, it's stuff that can happen. Highjump is scrap another card with a black card to draw 2. Unlikely I'll use that because I find card draw. I'm not hunting for like any specific card.
That's true. I need to really get 3 in my hand. You just need to toss 1 black.
Yeah, and I'm not wanting to like fish through the deck necessarily for like really specific stuff to put on Windblade or Powertrain, because it's just like on Powertrain especially, I just want bold upgrades.
I guess you could, if you want to be risky, go in with Powertrain and use Tote to untap Powertrain to go in on another turn.
Yeah, so Tote has that whole like untap a 6-star thing.
He's already for action.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I could do a double... If Tote survives to the second cycle, I could use him to double swing with
Sure.
Powertrain, but that's a real niche thing, and Tote usually is the one I lead with because he's 5 health.
I guess, definitely it makes sense that if I have to fish for cards to really make use of these effects, they should be a bit stronger than, hey, I just get to toss a black pip card, and I can do whatever I want. So, I mean, it's better for you if you're flip economy, though. You never have to... Like, there are turns where it's like, man, I want to flip her off the top, but don't want to make use of his effect. I'm not going to be able to flip her.
Yeah, in my case, I'm basically never having to really think about flipping these guys.
Yeah.
The untap thing matters more, I find, in the 5 wide where you have all 4 of these. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, there's going to be a niche case where it's like, no, I get to double swing with Powertrain and hurt their meat shield more than they're supposed to on the second cycle. But yeah, that's about the gist of the case. Yeah, you've got Nightflight. You've got an actual really strong.
Yeah. So I find typically turn 1. Always lead with Stormcloud. Stormcloud, he's, just so you guys know, focus fire on this mode, basically. If you only scrap 3 greens that don't have the same name, it's bold 3. If you scrap 3 greens of the same name, it's bold 6. I find I'm not really using that often. They could help out in a pinch, but I just have not really had the chance to do it. But hey, lead with him. You're probably going to hit for 6 or 7. You're not playing an upgrade on him. You're flipping a green, puts him up to 5. Almost always going to flip 1 or 2 orange.
The psych warfare you've committed on me with playing against this deck is basically every time these little guys attack, no matter how I convince myself, well, the little guys are going first.
Yeah.
They also are coming in usually with a base of somewhere between 5 to 8.
Yeah.
Even on an unlucky flip.
So if you're fighting an orange deck, most of your damage is going through.
Yeah.
Fighting a blue deck, you're hoping for some of those early black pip cards. Maybe Pierce 2.
Yeah.
But hopefully you're still at least doing 3 damage because you're pumping 7. And they don't have any armors on, they don't have anything. So obviously flip Windblade first turn.
Yeah.
If your opponent goes first, they're going to Windblade.
Yeah.
Like, they're not playing action, they're not playing an upgrade. They're going to Windblade. She has 2 defense. They could put a bunch of... I've had turns where, hey, they put, like, 6 damage on her because they led with a
but
big
then,
beat stick.
because I'm in the same position,
Yeah.
I find, okay, if you pile drive Windblade but you don't kill her...
Hey, you're getting...
You've made my decision
You've
for
opened
me.
up a big character for 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks.
And you've made the decision for me that, okay, I'm going to protect Windblade instead of...
So 1, 2... 3, 4. Yeah, you're really giving that option to be attacked.
Yeah.
But hey, if you go second, Windblade gets attacked, you're still going Stormcloud.
Yeah.
Maybe you're putting a Scoundrel's Blaster on him. Maybe you're doing a fight for position. Hopefully you got a good card there. You're always flipping Windblade. There are certain characters that he can survive against. Best case scenario I find is he's getting 2 defense, 1 blue, 1 green. Mm-hmm. They have to do 8 damage to KO him. It can be, for a lot of decks, a bit difficult on turn 2 to do 8 damage. Hopefully he's sticking around. Best case scenario, sticking around with 1 or 2 life, and then force your opponent into them again. I'm typically going with Nightflight then, get a weapon on him, push for 9, 10 damage.
Yeah.
Almost always, unless if I know my opponent has a chance to attack Tailwind, I'm actually going with Windblade first.
Yep.
If I know, it doesn't matter because I have more characters than my opponent and the tempo's on my side, and they're tapped out. I mean, obviously I'm going to be going into both characters, but if there's a chance they can attack Tailwind, I'm not letting them have it.
Yeah, and as far as the only other thing I can think of really is weaknesses of both of our decks kind of shared. Yours has more defense, so you can take hits better.
Yeah.
But one thing that definitely can wreck our day is the battlefield battlefield scan.
Battlefield scan.
When you can just choose to go at one of the stealth ones.
Yep. And almost always go after Lord.
Yeah, and it's always going to be after the first wheel turn, but still, that's when the Lord is in the best protected position.
I almost always feel better when I'm ending a game with no damage on him, and he's my last character. I don't even mind if Windblade's out.
Because then they have to deal with this guy who's now turned into a 5/3.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate to deal with.
Yep.
The other thing that can wreck our decks that I don't think I've dealt with yet, but for instance, Metroplex, if he gets his ultimate off.
Yep. 1/1. Direct damage is hard.
Yeah, direct damage is hard. Squish them like bugs on the little guys. If you turn the deck into, if you strip Windblade's friends away and it's just early game Windblade on her own, and you're kind of like, okay.
I'll say in current meta, a lot of people are running marksmanship. Hey guys, have you seen the price of marksmanship on the secondary market? It's not fun. These guys are typically pretty safe because I'm not really flipping them to robot mode. So if your opponent's only direct damage is marksmanship, you're safe. But hey, in OF, what shall stand, one shall fall, putting 3 damage on any of these guys can be pretty lethal.
Yeah.
But your opponent typically will put it on Windblade instead.
That's the sight game of this, is because of the fact that also we tend to start a game saying, oh, this was the Windblade challenge. People tend to think we built the whole deck around her having to be there in the end game, and the Lord is the secret weapon.
Yep.
And then, again, psych game. If people, I'm going to say it clearly so everyone knows. Psych game.
Oh, sight game?
Sight game, yes. Okay. The eyeball game is you jab your opponent in the eyeballs.
We're playing the sight game right now.
Edge of the card, just like the Joker. He throws playing cards.
Okay.
You can basically, not with everyone obviously, smart player will be hard to deal with, but like someone who's kind of reacting to your deck.
Best piece of advice, play against a not smart player.
Yeah, my wording sucks. But basically, go in, convince them Windblade's the problem, then protect the Lord, and then hopefully they'll go, oh, the Lord is really the secret. Then you're like, okay, I'll protect Windblade.
Yep. Because hey, again, base of 6.
Yeah.
Pretty strong.
Now, if they can just go at these two and ignore these two somehow, then you have a problem.
Yeah. Worst case scenario is being left endgame with one of these two.
Yeah. Then it's like,
hey, if your opponent has really low health left, you can maybe pierce them out. You might get lucky. You really want to be left with either your Lord or your Windblade.
Yeah. And that's about the gist of our decks. So we'll hopefully this has been helpful. Once again, this is Brian. This is 2 entries.
Brian. Hi, Brian.
This is two entries.
Hi, Brian.
I don't think you can see.
Okay. Hi, Brian.
To get in where the playmat is.
Hello, Brian.
Hi.
Hello.
This is 2 entries. So you have to pick one of them if you think these are cool. We're not 1 entry.
No.
We're just in the same play group. I don't know what it looks like when I look at the camera from here. Can you do that? I want to see.
Hello,
that's
Brian.
really... Our heads are huge when they come in like Okay. So thanks for watching. Speaking for this channel, I'd like to do some more deck techage. I actually shot a deck tech for my... deck tech. More like just saying what I used at the Energon Invitational. This is going up before that. So look forward to that.
As we always say here at 3 Kingdoms Games.
3 Kingdoms Games by Eglinton in Toronto,
Ontario. As we always say after we finish the video here, continue wrecking and or ruling.
That's... I gotta roll up this playmat. Just...
Bye-bye.
Boy.